for some free, live, accurate energy readings today. I just finished making the pick a card for tomorrow. It was so beautiful. I love the messages that come out. I'm like, it's just, they're so full of light and love. And ooh, it was interesting as well because I've shared a few personal stories today. I do share stories, but today it was interesting. It was an interesting day. Definitely. So I'm here with my usual standard deck of cards. There's two different ones, as you can see. And the reason there are two is because this one has two extra suits on the cards. And this one has 4. And because of that, it gives different messages in the reading, which I like. And I love numbers, and I love the way numbers move around each other. So I like all of that. So I use 2. We have the Show Me cards. These are my own design cards based on the energy animals that I see when I look at people. I made these cards, and the rest of the energy animals are in here. The calabash. The calabash is full of names, songs, quotes, energy animals. The ones that are not here. And that sound is some chimes and stone, another stone, and some chimes. Things that I think of throwing in there. It's like, oh, what can I do with, oh, let me put that in my calabash. Oh, a little message come out the calabash. Let's see what it says. Marcus, an old school friend popping up. An old school friend popping up. That's interesting because I just found out yesterday that I'll be going to the UK for a funeral. So, I mean, an old school friend popping up. It seems pretty likely, doesn't it? It does seem pretty likely. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Hello, how are you today? How are you? So my name is Bridgitte. I'm from the UK. I live in sunny Spain. It's definitely sunny. Definitely sunny. I'm here to do today to do some free live readings. Where are you from? Hey, Charlie. Where are you from, Charlie? Where are you in the world? Where are we in the world today? How are you, Empress? Oh, I'm great, thank you. And how are you? Where are you in the world, guys? Let's see where in the world we are today. You are in Utah, US. Wow. Nice. Traveling. I am here today to do some live readings. So any of you that are interested, please comment and I can come to you. I will come to the first person that comments that they would like a reading. It's a beautiful day here today, guys. Beautiful day. It's, what is the time? It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I would love more than anything to visit Spain one day. May I please have a reading? Yes, Charlie. Bro's as old as hell. Am I meant to be the bro? I'm bro. Hey, bro. I'm as old as hell. Well done. Well done. Bro's as old as hell. I feel like a spring chicken. All right, so Charlie. Can I say bottle of water? Bottle of water. Bottle of water. Bottle of water. Bottle of water. Do you like the way English people say it? And where I'm from in England, I mean, we can't even say water. Water isn't pronounced. It's water. Water. It don't even sound like what it's meant to. I went to Antigua one time. I was asking for water. And the person wasn't understanding me. I found it so frustrating and I didn't know how else to say it because I'd only ever said water. So eventually I was like, it's clear, it's liquid, you drink it, it's healthy. I was giving all these descriptions. And then finally I said, water. And then he was like, all right. So he went to get me some water. And I decided that I'm gonna make an effort to learn how to speak better. Not better. I'm gonna learn how to pronounce to other people so that if they're not getting my accent, that I'm still able to communicate. So I've been practicing. My accent's completely changed since then. You're from Britain too, nice. If you have a melting... Go get your eyes checked, bro. It's all right. I'm not offended. I'm not offended in any way. I mean, if I looked at me as a young person, I would have, she's old. I would have said she's old. But now I'm at that age, it's like, well, I'm not old. But it's subjective, isn't it? Age is such a subjective thing. If I looked at, I'm not 50 yet, but if I looked at a 50-year-old at like 25 years old, if I was 25 and I'm looking at a 50-year, I'd think they're old. I would. It's like that, isn't it? Age is an interesting thing. I don't know how to say medits. Medits. All right, Charlie, I'm with you. I am with you. You have a hard time with mean people. I don't mind mean people. And I don't particularly. It's not like, hey, you're my friend, but. I mean, it's like, I don't want it to bother me. It's like, why should a mean person or somebody that's saying something that is not necessarily the most politest, because it wasn't quite mean, but it's not necessarily the politest, but why should they spoil my day? And especially just about my age, it's like, who cares? I'm 48. I will be 49 in what days? In a few days. No, 15 days. I will be 49 in 15 days. No, come on, guys. We're love here. All right, Charlie, I'm coming to you. Where are you, midiots? Where are you? Where are you in the world? No, I'm not old. I think... And I asked people recently, there was one guy, he was 75. How old do you feel? He said he feels about 40. He actually said my age, 48. And then I asked somebody else recently how old they feel. I think they just turned 63. She said she feels like she's about 45. And I'm 48. I've gone out of my 20s now. When I was early 40s, I still felt like I was in my 20s. But now I'm feeling... like I'm in my early 30s. I don't think that our mind catches up as much as the age, the when we say our age. The sound is like, but that's old. It is old. But the reality of being that age, it is something you can't explain until you're there. Yeah. All right, so Charlie from Utah. Charlie, let's see what messages come out for you. Charlie. And welcome, guys. It hit differently, yeah. It's an interesting thing. Like I said, age is subjective. It's not just subjective to who is perceiving it, but it is subjective towards ourselves as well. All right, Charlie, may this reading be for the highest good of Charlie. Charlie. May you receive the information you need, and may you be open to receiving it. Oh, Charlie, loads of cards come out. I mean, it's too many. Let's see. Oh, loads. 6 cards. Wow, look at that. 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8. Wow. 2, 4, 6, 8. King. Ace. Charlie, let me just sit with these cards for a minute because there's so many of them. I'm going to get the overall message rather than going through each one of them because there's a lot of them. My name is Bridgitte. Hey, Andrea. Hey, Sarah. How you guys doing? All right. So, Charlie. The Ace of Diamonds and the King of Diamonds. Charlie, let's do one at a time. I feel like I actually need to move this. Charlie, I feel like what's happening for you is there's this little rebirth that's happening for you. And the rebirth, I feel, is about what you feel you're able to share. So, for example, because it's the ace is coming with the king, and they're both diamonds. The diamonds is around career and finance. But the ace and king for me are both the number 1. That tells me that this is a root problem for you. It's a root belief that you have. And I feel like what happens with you, I feel like there's a couple of things what happens. The ace is I'll come back to you, Midits. While I'm doing a reading, it's really difficult to come to the questions of what you're asking. So I'll do the reading and then I'll come back to your questions, all right? So the ace for me is about a rebirth. So it tells me that there's a rebirth happening within you, within your world. There's some inner belief changing about you. This inner belief with diamonds could be what you feel you're worthy of. It could be what you feel. The ace actually is around the negative of the ace. What the ace struggles with is being abandoned, being left alone. Not neglected though, abandoned. It feels like people have left you and you've not been kind of supported. And then you've got the king, that's somebody that's coming from an environment that wasn't helpful towards your intuition. So let's say, for example, you said to somebody, hey, mum, you feel really sad today. Are you okay? So then your mum says, no, I'm not, of course I'm okay. I'm happy. Everything's nice. And you know that you feel that the person doesn't feel nice. But the more that somebody convinces you that they're all right, you stop trusting yourself. So this is like, there was a time that you didn't trust yourself. You didn't trust your intuition. You didn't trust the wisdom that's inside you, because the king is somebody that's an old soul. They're very wise. But there was a time that you wouldn't have trusted yourself. You would have been around people that kind of stumped on your intuition, leading you to not believing it, to not necessarily that you didn't believe in it at all, but it was minimalized, the amount that you believed in it. But now I feel like you're having a rebirth around it, and that this is something that you are now comfortable with sharing, your intuition, your wisdom, your insights from your experiences that you've had. Before, I feel that you would have been hiding, because that's what the king is for me. It's somebody that hides from their intuition, somebody that isn't comfortable sharing with other people about their intuition, because other people can think, ooh, she's a witch, or ooh, she's a bit odd, or whatever other people think. I feel like now you're ready to show people you. And I also think that because you're willing now to allow that part of you out, to show this part of you, It's interesting because this is a 3 as well. It's got 3 diamonds on it, and that was where I was going, but I didn't notice the 3 first. But this is like you're allowing your authentic self to come out. You're moving more into a place that you're being true to yourself. You're not worrying so much about how other people perceive that self. You're allowing your creativity to come out, the genius, the authenticity, the uniqueness, the thing that makes you odd and strange to other people, but actually like your superpower. I feel like that you're allowing to come out, or you're in the process of allowing it to come out. That's with the ace and the king. So the 2, 4, 6, 8, the 2 is a message of connecting to universe, connecting to the synchronicities around you, connecting to what you receive, how you receive it, the messages and synchronicities. The 2 for me, let me move the ace back over to here so that I can explain it in the spiral, that how I see it. So the 1 for me is somebody that, hey Eric, the 1 for me is your ego self. It's the I self. I, me, myself, and I. So that's 1, human self. The 2 is the energetic self. So consciousness, the part of everything. You're part of everything energetically. So the 1 is the human self. The 2 is the energetic self. And the 3 is these 2 things working together. Your human self, being able to work from your energetic self, getting the inspiration, being able to take the actions from them inspirations, or being able to receive. Because if you go from the 1, where the mind is really noisy, the ace, the mind is really noisy. And when you don't allow the ego to, or when you allow the ego rather to talk and talk and talk and talk, and it's all about yourself, it means when you get to the 2, it's very difficult to create that connection to source, because the connection to source needs you to let go of self. We can't have, when you get to the 3, then you can incorporate all, but the 2 is about you having this connection to source. So if you're so focused on self, then there isn't that connection to source. So you've got the 1, ego self. You've got the 2, energetic self. You've got the 3, which is on the ace, the 3 diamonds that are on it. The 3, which is you incorporating the 2 together, your human self, your energetic self, you being authentic to self. You've got the 4, which is you taking an action towards this inspired thought, whatever it is that's come through you with that 3. There was something that came through you with the 3 to help you to become closer to your authentic self. That led you to take an action. So from that action, it's led you to the 6. And this is 2 6s really, because we've got 6 spades on there, and then this is a 6. And we've got 2 8s, because this has 8 on it, and this is an 8. So you've got 2 6s and 2 8s, which is what this has led you to. So the 6 is about, okay, you made a decision to take an action. That decision was inspired as well, because this is a spirit message. And then from that action, it's led you to the 6. The 6 is, I always think of the 6 as, my guides have been sending so many messages and opening many doors. I just have to make the decision on which one to walk through. That's the 2. That's trusting in the guidance and the support, the source energy, your energetic self, trusting in that. That would be the 2. And the 3, the human self has to respond to the energetic self. It has to do the work. It doesn't have to, but you end up in cycles when you don't do the work. So the 6 is, I always think of this, the 6 is a message of planting seeds. So you've done all these actions, but the 6 is like, okay, so you're creating something here and you're moving into something. You've taken action towards it. But how are you feeling about this thing now? Are you feeling, but how is this going to happen? And when is it going to happen? And I don't really know about this thing, and I don't really deserve this thing. And what if it leaves me? What if it doesn't come back? Because that's the ace. The ace has the abandonment issue, like I said at the beginning. It experienced some form of abandonment. This could just be from being born, because when you come out of your mother, for me, that is kind of a process of abandonment. We're in a new world. There is this detachment that happens from our source self to our human self. There's something that gets lost in that process. So the 6 is about where is your focus? Where are you? You've been working on healing. Well, you're doing a really good job, because you've got the ace here, which means you're having the rebirth around this particular thing. And this rebirth is helping you to connect to source, to have faith in your decisions, because the 4 is that you've taken a decision, you've made a decision, you've taken an action towards a decision, but it's whether you have faith in the decision, because low vibration 4 is, well, low vibration 2 is there's nobody supporting me, nobody loves me. So it's like you feel alone, you feel by yourself. Low vibration 4 is, you're doubtful about the actions you took. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I was a bit rash. Maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should have done that. Maybe I should have just stayed where I was. It has a lot of doubt. You don't feel like you're quite light. You feel very light, actually. There will be moments, though, that you dip and you go up and you dip again and you go up, because it is a healing process. It is about understanding how you feel, and it is about gaining control over how you feel and learning how to control yourself. And that's what you're experiencing. So the 2 is the connection to the source. The 4, the experience, the action that you've taken. The 6 is how you move forward with this action. Do you promote it and lift it up and give it all the nurturing and the support that it needs? Or do you stifle it to death with, but I can't do that. How am I going to do that? When am I going to do that? Where am I going to get that from? I don't have the money for that. I don't have the time for that. I don't have the support for that. I don't have what I need. It's like there are always 2 different sides. And it's nice because it's 4 and 6. It's like there's the middle, no, the 5. And that's the balance. The 5 for me is all about balance. So all of this is telling me to go to the 5, the balance. Get yourself into the balance, because the balance will help you with all of them. The 6, when we're struggling with the 6, is go back to the 5. It's always, when you're with the 1, is go to the 5. When you're with the 9, is go to the 5. It's always about getting back to the balance and gratitude. Because the 4 can be, but you're doubting yourself. The 6 can be, but you're doubting the possibilities of what you're able to create. In the 5 is gratitude. There's lack, there's abundance. There's lack or there's gratitude. When you're working from the place of gratitude, it's expansive. It helps to move you. It helps to create more. It helps to bring in more positive feelings that lead to momentums of positivity coming through you rather than going to a negative area. And from the 6, it leads you to the 8, the manifestation in your hand, holding it. And I believe for you, the manifestation is this ability to share, because you've got the manifestation as the clubs, and clubs is that you are somebody, the manifestation is going to be a personal growth lesson for you. It's going to be something that, it could be something physical, but it's really intrinsic what happens to you through this experience. And I believe that what's happening is that you are now changing to be able to create, like I said, you're able to share. You're letting go of the idea of being abandoned. You're letting go of the idea of not being supported, not loved. You're letting go of not supporting yourself and doubting yourself. You're letting go of seeing limitations in your world instead of the expansion. And you're letting go of the attachments towards the things that you want, so that you're able to bring into the world what you're looking for. This is very nice. It's like you're taking very concise steps. You're on a mission to create something different in your world, and you're doing a really good job of it. This is leaping though, 2, 4, 6. It's not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 2, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8. It's leaping you forward. And it's nice as well because these are 2 ones for me. The ace is a 1 and the king is a 1. So it's 11. It shows me that there's guidance on your path. You are being supported. You are on the right path. You are moving in the right direction, and trust in yourself as you're moving. Trust in the tools, because this is the rebirth. Rebirth means that there's tools that you're picking up along the way towards this new adventure that you're on. Pick up them tools and be confident in the tools that you're picking up, trusting that they're going to be useful along the way. The tools they could come as struggle, but that struggle is something that's going to help you along the way. You could be somebody with the 2 that suffers from, like I said, not feeling supported or loved. This is like, the 2 is somebody that will experience depression in whichever form that makes sense to you. But part of your journey is learning to override that, learning to come to a place of connecting to source energy, your energetic self. So there's a lot of lessons here for you, but the biggest lesson really is yourself, where you're connecting to at what moment. And that's what it's all bringing you to, your manifestations. And your manifestations are bringing you financial abundance. They're bringing you the ability to share a lot of love from a very beautifully light place. And they're bringing you the ability to share your vulnerability with people that you haven't necessarily been wanting to do before because there was a fear about showing yourself. But now you're in this place of, you feel very empowered. You feel very, not necessarily sure of yourself, but despite the fact that you're not necessarily sure of yourself, you're sure of the steps that you're taking to become sure of yourself, if that makes sense. It feels like that for you. So well done, Charlie. You feel like you're doing a really good job, and it's keep moving yourself. Keep trusting in the actions you're taking. The 6, keep using the pole to be able, what am I thinking? You have a thought. Is this thought negative or is it positive? And how is it helping you in negative? How can you get it to the positive? Because negative is not necessarily just negative. Negative helps us to see, okay, if this is negative and I'm thinking in this way, then how do I get here? What is on this side of the negative? Because there's always contrast. That's the world we live in, no? Contrast. And I feel that that's something that you are learning a lot about, contrast. And you're learning how to maneuver yourself within the contrast of life. It's very nice. You feel extremely strong and empowered. Very nice. Hope that made sense, Charlie. Hey, Kay. All right, let's see what you're saying. Hey, Melissa. Hey, Debangana. Debangana. Interesting name. Eric, that would be nice. They're all 5. Yeah, 5 was really strong for you. 5 is really strong for me as well. It's not part of any of my numbers, but it's shown to me constantly, the number 5. But 5 definitely was standing out for you, and it wasn't even one of the cards, which is interesting, isn't it, when it's like that? Hey, Empress of Tarot. The man that I am in love with was arrested in June for manslaughter, and I just sold his house so that we can find a good attorney. And yes, the situation terrifies me in a way that I can't quite explain. Yeah, I mean, this is showing you something. Oh, look. Look at that. The 5. You're definitely learning a lot of lessons from your experience at the moment. And the biggest lesson that you're experiencing at the moment is about your frequency and where you are within your frequency. You've done a lot of work to be in this place, because learning about frequencies and learning where your frequency is and being able to actually do something about it, you've done a lot of work to get to that place, a whole heap of work, yeah, because it's not just anybody that's there. So well done for the work that you've done. And yes, it's difficult to be in a situation when you don't know the outcome of it, but trust in the outcome and trust that it's always working for you, especially you got an 8. The 8 is all about your manifestations coming to you. And I want to give you an example with the 8, because let's say you had wanted somebody in your life that, I'm going to use your partner as an example. Let's say you had wanted somebody in your life that was able to give you something that your partner wasn't giving you. As much as you're with your partner and you may be happy with your partner and you are comfortable, it doesn't always mean that the partner's the right one. So let's say there were certain things that your partner cannot give you, especially you, because you've changed frequency. So let's say your partner is not able to give you what you want. An 8 would come. And an 8 would be, let's say, it could be that something happens that creates you to be together and everything feels amazing. But an 8 could also be, it's about you letting go of this person and about allowing the manifestation, which could be the person that you have been, not necessarily you've been asking for somebody else, because generally we ask for who we're with to change, but that's not always possible. So sometimes it's that person has to leave for a new one to come in. I know at this moment that's not your idea, and it will feel like hell to you because you're so attached to this person. But an 8 could be that. It could be that this person has been taken out of your physical world for this moment, so that you are able to connect with the person you're meant to. And that is definitely a possibility. I'm not saying that's what it is, because I don't know. I just know that an 8 is that the universe is bringing in the manifestations. However it brings it in is what we deal with. And sometimes it feels like a really big struggle because the thing that we want gets taken away and we want that. So it feels like the worst thing in the world, when in reality it's one of them things that in hindsight you're like, that definitely needed to happen, but at the moment of it happening it feels like hell. You've had many lives together. Yeah, that still doesn't mean you're meant to be together, though. It still doesn't mean that. But I understand where you are. I just wanted to explain the 8 so that you understand that sometimes it is about things leaving your life to allow the space for things to come in. But a lot of your reading was about you having changed and about you adjusting yourself to the changes. He is an 8. I'm an 8 as well. 8s are difficult. All right, so Eric, I'm coming to you. Eric, you've been on a lot, but I've not actually done a reading for you, have I, Eric? So I am going to come and do a reading for you today. I'm going to do it. Let me drink a bit of water. You're still here, Eric? And at the moment, Charlie, because of what's happening, there's going to be a feeling of that abandonment as well, isn't there? Because the person's not there. So that feeling can be quite prominent. And it's really learning how to deal with your own emotions. You're in a very high place, Charlie. A very high place. All right, Eric. What is your sun? I ain't got a clue. I just know that if I add all my numbers up for my birthday, I'm an 8. I don't know about the sun and all, I don't know about all of that. I'm a Sagittarian though, if that's the sun. I don't know. Yeah. Eric. I'm calling the boy at school Eric, and I'm calling you Eric. 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 Eric, there's a couple of things happening. I was born this month, December. It's my birthday in 15 days. Yeah, I've got this feeling about you, Eric. Of course. Yeah, I've got this feeling about you, Eric. It's like I'm seeing something on the side. It's some scissors that are there's like this stand that has all these spoons in it. And there's some scissors there, but the scissors are the only thing that has not quite been put in properly. It's like they're kind of balancing there. It's like, it's this idea of, it's giving me this idea of being forced. And then my leg is pushing on the under of the table, and it's like, it's pushing really, really hard. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? It's hurting me. But I feel like there's this pressure that you're feeling. There's a pressure. Yeah, it's a feeling of pressure. It's like, it's not really like a feeling of being forced to do something. Let's see what the cards say. It doesn't feel like that. What does it feel like? This pressure. It feels like, yeah, it feels like you're feeling the pressure. I'm not really, let's see. Eric. May this reading be for the highest good of Eric. I feel like there's a pressure about people watching you, about people seeing you. I feel like you feel like you're under the spotlight at the moment. And that being under the spotlight is feeling like pressure to you. May this reading be the highest good of Eric. May you receive the information you need. And may you be open to receiving it. You do. All right, Eric, let's see. Wow, 9 and 10 of diamonds. Okay, so this is around career and finance. Career and finance is interesting because it can include relationships as well. Career and finance for me, oh, my finger is healing, it's itching me. Good your finger, well done. The diamonds for me could be having a child. They could be starting your own business, getting a new job, getting married, buying a house, studying or traveling. So it's quite a broad area. The 9, I feel that a lot of what you're experiencing is coming because of the 9. The 9 is when you've had people in your life that have let you down. They've lied, cheated, stolen, been dishonest, taken advantage of. These types of people that you couldn't trust. And toxic relationships, that's the 9. So I feel like you've had relationships like that around you. And then what happens with the 9 is it distances itself. The 9 is somebody that's very likely also to have left home quite early. And one of the reasons you leave home quite early is to distance yourself, is to create this barrier around self, to create this kind of shed for yourself that you're securing by yourself. Because you don't want anybody else around you anymore, because people hurt you. So it's better to keep them there while you're here so that you don't get hurt. But the problem with that is that if you're here and they're there, there's never any kind of depth to the connections. So this is saying, with the 9, you have some opportunities, because the 9 is opportunities. And it's not allowing your emotional self, your past experiences, the hurts that you've experienced, the letdowns, to dictate these opportunities that you're moving towards. And I'll even go further because we have the 10. So it's even nice because it gives you what kind of is going on in your head. The 9 is all about the emotional trauma and overcoming the emotional trauma, not allowing it to dictate what you should do next. But the 10 is a mental thing. The 10 is around you having a really big desire. So, I mean, you've got the 9, so the opportunity is there for this desire as well. So you have this really big desire, but you have a lot of what ifs. What if they lie to me? What if they steal all of our money? Let's say you're starting a business. What if they cheat us out of everything? What if we lose our house? What if we can't afford this? What if the what ifs can go on and on and on and on and on. They're limitless in negative and positive, but only the positive are going to feel good. So the 10 is all about you flowing. It's all about ebb and flow. You flowing with the opportunities that are coming. You trusting in the desire that you have and allowing that to kind of dictate your way, rather than all the noise that's going on in your head, because this is a lot of noise. The 9 and 10 are very noisy. The 9 is noisy, but emotionally, it's like you may be finding that you're getting angry quite quickly, or that you're distancing yourself from people. You're spending more time alone, or you're more reactive when people speak to you, or more defensive. It's that kind of energy. The 10 is an energy, it doesn't want to fail and it does not want to be rejected. So it kind of keeps itself in place because it doesn't want to have either of these experiences. And with the 9, that because of the trauma that's been experienced and it being walked forward with, you're not likely to take action towards these big desires. But this is asking you to. It's asking you to see the opportunities and flow through them. Trust in what is coming through them. There is no failure in going towards something that you desire. There is no rejection in going after something you desire, because if it's not meant for you, it was never yours anyway, whether you want it or not. It's not, if it's not meant for you, it's not yours. 10. 4, 5. Yeah, I feel that a lot of this, Eric, is coming from a decision that you've already made, because we have 4, 5 here as well. The 9 has 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 diamonds on it. And the 10 has 14 diamonds on it. 13 brings us to 4 and 14 brings us to 5. So the 4 is that you made a decision. I feel that you made a decision around your career and finance. And that decision that you made, you're imbalanced around it. You're struggling with the, was it the right thing to do? Should I have done that? Or what if I was too rash? What happens if it fails? What if people lie and cheat? It's all of that. So the 5 that is coming out through the 10 is about you bringing yourself to balance, bringing yourself to a place of gratitude for what you're experiencing, the experiences that you have had that have shown you negatives, so that you know that there are good people in the world and you can trust people. It's not always about not trusting people. There are people in the world that are beautiful people in the world as well. And putting gratitude, sending gratitude out into the world, which puts you in balance, because this 4 is you've made this decision, but now you've gone into your emotional self of, yeah, but what if this happens? What if that happens? What if that happens? And that's exactly the same. It's the 9 is what ifs, but in the emotional state, and the 10 is the what ifs, but in the mental state. So it's like a lot of confusion, a lot of anxiety of what is to come in your world. And this is asking you to get your balance. Take yourself on a walk around water, listen to music, sing, dance, be creative. When we're creative, generally the noise becomes background noise, so you don't really hear it, and you're giving yourself the space to be able to connect to peace calm, tranquility. And that allows you to see in clarity. It allows you to let go of this bag of baggage that you're carrying around that doesn't feel nice. It feels heavy and tiring. Yeah, I hope that helps, Eric. I hope it makes sense to you. You're welcome. This could be like an opportunity of a job that comes up. Not necessarily a job. Like I said, it's quite broad. So whatever it is for you. But this could be a job or whatever it is for you that's come up, because the 8 is opportunity. And then the 10 is about whether you're actually going to step over the ledge to accept that opportunity or not, because of the what ifs. It's about you creating different change, because this is 9 and 1, the ending of something and the beginning of something. I am the 19th, yeah. And this is the 19th. I noticed something the other day about my birthday. It was the strangest thing. After I heard something about birthdays, I decided to write my birthday down and read my birthday. But it was in a way of reading it that I've never read. And it was so interesting because my birthday has 2 19s and it has 2 3s. That's what it all breaks down to. So I end up as a 1, and because 19 is 10. So I end up with 2 1s and 2 3s. It was like, wow, that's weird. It was very weird. Have you heard of cardology? I've heard of cardomacy, which is reading the standard deck of cards, no? But I don't, I've never studied cardomacy, cardology. I've not studied. I was given the messages, they came through me, and they're the messages that I use. When I did check, somebody told me not long after I started using a standard deck of cards, they told me that it was called cardomacy. I researched cardomacy and saw that these cards were like people. They were referring to people. But I don't read them the way that cardomacy reads them. I read them in the way that I was shown to read them. Yeah, and it's continuously expanding as well, because that's what happens. Everything is always expanding. Robert Lee Camp, cardology. Okay. I'll have a look. My friend bought me a numerology book as well. I've not even read that because I don't know. It's interesting because we receive messages all the time from the universe, but some things feel like it's like that's what's meant to happen, and other things feel like I'm not meant to do that. And that's kind of how I feel about cardomacy, tarot cards. I don't feel guided to these places. It's like the universe gives me what I need, and I simply trust in what I'm given. But then, like you've come here and you have your little message of cardology, and maybe that's something that I'm meant to hear. Oh, look. I am the Queen of Hearts according to the cardology theory. The Queen of Hearts. Would I consider myself that? Yeah, I'd consider I'm all of my cards. The way I read the cards, you have all these different ideas for the different cards. Now, and I do have different ideas for the cards. That's what was shown to me. But the way that my ideas for the cards are, it's where you are emotionally, where you are mentally. That's what changes the message. And the way that I was shown to read them is, I'll tell you my story. So I went to bed one day and I heard that I should read a standard deck of cards. I heard Ace, a message, 2, a message, 3, a message. I wrote it all down. I didn't understand it though. A couple of months later, I went back to check my messages and I was like, I still don't understand you, but let's see if I can let me use the cards and see what comes out from using them. See if understanding comes, because sometimes it's in the practice of something that we discover, no? So let me use the cards and see what happens. So I used the cards and they started to make sense. And then I've been reading them now for 4 years I've been reading them. It was my 44th birthday. This was a couple of months after I started reading them. And I was like, okay, so 44 is 8. What would 8 look like for me? What would my 8 tell me? So it was universally inspired changes. So I said, okay, so what happened when I was 8? And it was just like a process of thought that I just went with. I didn't question it, I just went with it. So what happened when I was 8? When I was 8, I went to Mauritius for the first time with my nan. My mum is from Mauritius, so I went there for the first time. Completely different place, completely different to where I'm from, London. What happened when I was 17? I moved into my own flat. What happened when I was 26? My husband and I became partners. What happened when I was 35? We got married and had twins. So I was like, ooh, so what's going to happen on my 44? I'm excited for this year. Because all of these things had been huge, big things for me. So I was like, well, if that happens for 8, and it makes so much sense with an 8, what happens with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5? So I sat down and I wrote my life out in numbers. When I was 1, 10, when I was 2, 11, 20, when I was 3, 12, 21, 30. You get the idea. I went through my whole life writing it as much as I could remember. And what's amazing is my memory is actually really good. So, and I believe my memory is so good simply for me to be able to have brought this, for the universe to have kind of gifted this through me, through my own understandings. And it brings a lot of understanding, like I said, emotionally and mentally. Your angel number is 8. Yeah, and that's how I read the cards. And it's really interesting because sometimes I read them, I'm like a novice, even though I've been reading them for years. It's like a layer came off. And initially when it started happening, I would be like, a layer came off my cards. But it's not a layer coming off the cards. It's just a layer coming off myself. My own understanding of self happens. And that brings me to a deeper level in understanding the cards. And I like the messages that come through. I think that something that we all struggle with is emotions and mental stability. And these are just teaching that in abundance. And I love that because that's what I'm about. My childhood was quite traumatic. I went through my own experiences that were very, very, very heavy. And it took a really long time. It's only now, actually, that it's taken years to be able to overcome the experiences. And these are what are helping me, really, these cards, because they show me where I am. So now everything for me is frequency. They show me where I am in my frequency. And I know, okay, if I'm here and I want to be here, what do I need to do to get here? And it's got nothing to do with anybody else or what anybody else says or how anybody else reacts or acts. My frequency is my frequency, and only I am in control of that frequency. So before, everything was about what other people did. I was the victim and I blamed everybody. It was always everybody else's thoughts. But now I've got to a place that if I'm always blaming other people, then I'm never going to be who I am choosing to be, because my focus is on other people. And that's something I've learned, and it's something that I'm always teaching. Focus on self. There is nothing more powerful than focusing on self. And that's not to say don't be nice to people, don't be kind to people, don't give to people. It's all about that. When you're focusing on self, you're focusing in a place of love, and that's what you're able to share with people rather than the trauma that you've experienced. So that's what I'm about. That's where I love to sit. Right, let me see what you're all saying. I will check it out though. When I feel guided to things, then I'll go to them. But if I don't feel guided, I don't. And lots of people mention things to me, and I think, well, maybe because they've mentioned it, I'm meant to go to it, and maybe that is my message. But sometimes it just doesn't feel right, and it's like, it's not because people say things that you have to do it or that you should feel obliged to do it. And that's something that I've had to learn as well. Not feel obliged to do something because somebody wants me to, but do it because it's what feels right to me. And that's a difficult one to learn as well. Melissa, I didn't see your question. Hey, Amber. How do you find out your angel number? I know how to find out your life path number, which is adding up all of your birthday numbers. So your life path number, I know that. But how do you find your angel number? Do we actually have an angel number? I don't know about. For me, all numbers are angel numbers. For me, angel is a representation of guidance, support, protection. And that's what numbers are. Whatever number it is, it's all that. So for me, the numbers that we experience or that we see come up in our life or in our path, or because like the number 5 has always followed me everywhere. But I see all owner numbers all the time. So the number 5, as much as that is an important number to me, that's kind of like the number that I've taken as my life lesson. But I associate all the numbers to do with my birthday as my life lesson. And then all the other numbers I see, they have just as much to offer. So I don't see one as being more powerful than the other. I know my life path number is number 8 because I know my life path number. But does that mean that 8 is more important to me than any other number? It doesn't. They're all important. They all have something to teach. We're not just one thing. Example, angel number 12, 18, 1991. Same here. My first memory was at 3, and my turning point where I can really kind of remember my world flipping was at 8. I have a lot of memories. My husband doesn't remember anything, and I remember everything. And we've always spoken about it like, but I mean, why do I have to remember all of these things? Now I know why I remembered all of these things. I needed to remember them to be able to help myself, help understanding, just help myself in so many ways. Because when you see something, especially as an adult, we have a tendency to, even as adults, still view ourselves from the perspective of being who we were at that experience. But through these cards, I started to see myself through myself, not through who I was at the time of the experience. So it completely changed the perspectives of all of my memories. They all became something different to me. It was very interesting, but they're empowering. Very empowering. So do you add those numbers together? Yes, you add them together. So you have 12. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 8 is 12, plus 1 is 13, plus 9 is what? Or plus the other one is 14. 9 and 9 is 18. 14 plus 18 is what? Yeah, let's do it the other way. 9, 18, 19, 20, 21, no, 18, 19, 20, 28, 29, 30, 32. 32, so you're 5. It would be 5, Empress. 5 Is that your birthday? You were born the day before me, not the year before, but the day before me you were. Three to five. Yeah, you got it yourself. You see? Well done. Oh, Empress helped you. Thank you, Empress. Embrace my destiny. I am pregnant again with a small child, already wondering if there's any messages from my spirit, team, baby, higher self. I'd say enjoy. Enjoy the process. Enjoy every minute of it. It's so easy to get caught up in the mundane things, especially when the baby comes. It's very easy to get caught up in I have to do this, 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 and you feel that these things are what creates you to be a good mum, but in reality, I mean, it's just you loving your child. It's really that. I remember when my children were young, and I'd give them baths and do their hair and things like that, and it was like, initially it's because I had to do these things as the parent, but at some point that changed within me, and it became something that, yeah, but these are the moments that I'm actually spending with them. So if I'm seeing this as an obligation, I feel annoyed about having to do it, because I don't like obligations. So I feel annoyed about having to do this job. But I waited years to have children, and now I can't even appreciate these things that I'm doing. So it was that, altering I have to do this as obligations, and doing it just because it's a great moment to spend with your child, and to be with your child, and to love your child, and to create connections with your child. And it's in the mundane that you get the most rewards, really, because the mundane is what you spend most of your time doing. I have written a book. Charlie. I wrote a book. It's based on the numbers. It's called Who Are You? True Ego, Who Are You? It is based on the standard deck of cards. I wrote it a couple of years ago now, about 3 years ago, not long after I received the messages of the card. And it's written differently to where I am now, because it's 3 years ago. I wasn't where I am now 3 years ago. I was close to where I am now, but I wasn't where I am now. There's so much more understanding that I have than I had. But the book it's very nice. It explains where the cards come from, which is what I explained. It explains it in a bit more in depth than I explained here, but it explains where they come from. It shows you each of the numbers, and within each number, it shows you the story. So there's a story for each age. It shows you the lessons that I learned within these stories or within this number. And it teaches, and it shows the tools that I helped myself with to get out of the negatives of these numbers. Because every number for me has a negative and a positive. It's all, we live in contrast. We live in a world of contrast. So everything is about contrast. So initially, through my traumatic eyes, everything was in negatives. My whole world was viewed in negatives for a long time. And it was in writing that book and getting these cards that I came to the understanding of how much the negatives and the struggle and the difficult times really help us to shine, to see light, to move us towards the light. It's like illuminated in time of struggle, the lights. And yeah, that's what the book is. It's on Amazon. You can check it out. The link is in the description if you're interested. Yeah, you always, whenever you're adding numbers to get a number, it's always about breaking it down to a single digit, always until you get to a single digit. I don't always break down until I get to a single digit, though, I have to be honest, because sometimes it's that 2 digits that are speaking. It's not asking me to break it into a 1 digit. It wants to be a 2 digit. But if it's within like a numerology, getting your life path number or something, it's always the 1 digit. Life path, yeah. That's the only one I know, Empress. Are they speaking of one's life? But I don't know. I'm not sure. For me, angel numbers are the synchronicities that we receive to show us how we're doing. Similar to the readings and me using the numbers. These are, for me, angel numbers. Numbers for me are angels because they teach us so much. I love numbers. Can't get away from numbers, and they're always helping us. Melissa, I do not answer about third person. You want to know what Joe's next actions towards you will be. I don't answer third person questions. I don't have permission to read Joe, and that's what you're wanting to know what his actions would be. I'd have to read him, but I can't read him because I don't have his permission to read him. But I would say, and it's what I've been stressing in my time here, because I know where you're coming from. I've come from that place. What does this person think of me? What does that person think of me? What is that one going to do? Always about other people, until I learned that it wasn't serving me to focus on anybody else other than myself. So that would be the advice that I give you. You're asking me about Joe's next actions towards you. I'd say focus on you. Focus on what you feel about Joe. Focus on anything that feels good. You asking this question about Joe makes me feel that there's insecurities there, that there's some doubts there, that you're worried. And that isn't attracting Joe, that energy. That will not attract. It's when you want something to come towards you, it's sending good energy out towards it. No, actually, it's not. It's sending energy out towards it in the frequency of what it is. So if you're sending energy out towards Joe in a worried, anxious energy, then what you receive back is anxious, worried energy. That might be because he's not calling you. It might be because he's not being honest. It might be because of whatever reason. But it would always be sent out to you in the way that you sent it out. So when you're focused on Joe or anybody that you want to have nice relationships with, focus on them in a light way, in a way that you're not worried or stressed about them. If you can't do that, just don't focus on them at all. Focus on somebody else that you can have them feelings towards, you can feel good about, and focus on that person, because it doesn't really matter who you're focused on. The energy doesn't know it's this person or this person or this person. The energy is changing because the way you're feeling is regardless of who it is that you're feeling it towards. So then you can attract feelings of good vibes, and that maybe that will be Joe, maybe it won't be Joe. If Joe is the one to give you them vibes, he will come, you will attract. But if he isn't, you won't attract him. I think they talk to us through everything. Charlie said, yes, I agree with that so much. I think that our spirit guides, passed over loved ones, spirits in general, talk to us through numbers. I agree with that. But I believe they talk to us through absolutely everything. As I've been doing the readings, no. Has it happened? Yeah, it has happened, hasn't it? Eric, I saw the scissors and the feeling of me pushing on this table with my leg. They're random things. It's scissors. The scissors have been there the whole morning. It's very early this morning that I put them in this thing. But it's only now that it became relevant. This morning I did pick a card reading, 3 different groups. And something within my sights caught my attention in each of the groups for me to speak about within the readings. So one of the things, like it's scissors. Sometimes it could be like a peg. It's on one of my containers or something, and it has something to say just because of how it is or what it looks like, or the candle will speak to me, or it could be anything. Literally anything can speak to us as long as you're willing to listen. And I think many times what happens with us is that it's like something will get your attention, like them scissors got my attention. They really did get my attention. And when they get my attention, why have you got my attention? It's scissors. It's like I could just ignore it and I don't need to pay attention to this. But for me, the fact that I've noticed it, it wasn't for nothing. It wasn't just a random act. It wasn't. It isn't. So why are you talking to me? What do you have to tell me? And I actually went further with the scissors because initially I was like pressure and I couldn't understand what the message was. But then it became a face, the two holes of the scissors and the nose in the bit that it meets. It became a face for me, which is why I expanded on it. But the point is that it's scissors. The plug might talk to me. The table could, or the wood on my cupboard could talk to me. We're spoken to in so many different ways. Smells can talk to us. You might hear something, feel something, taste something. We have all of these senses for a reason. And there's so many things that come through us. It's just whether we're listening to what comes through us. You're a Scorpio, okay. True healing, allowing yourself the opportunity to find inner happiness and rewiring your brain to learn and live complete opposite of what you were taught. Exactly. And the thing is, the beautiful thing is, it's not that what we were taught was bad, because without what we were taught, we wouldn't know what to walk towards. It's because of that you have all of this amazingness to walk towards, because you're like, yeah, I experienced that. I know that. I'm not going back to that. I've had enough of that. Let's go this way. And you know exactly what way to go because you know exactly what you've experienced. You know exactly what you want to let go of. Doesn't always happen because, I mean, let's say relationships, for example. You've had difficult relationships from being a child. You grow up, you're likely to have difficult relationships as an adult. Romantic relationships, toxic relationships. I know I have. And that's okay, because all they showed me was that I was still repeating the same patterns as where I'd been, where I'm coming from. So when you become aware of something, that's when things have the possibility of change, you know, because you're aware. That's the seed for me. And becoming aware is a seed that's been planted. 14th of the 11th. Nice. Happy birthday last month. Yes, children are the greatest gift that we are gifted in this world, I believe. Don't ever take a moment for advantage. My firstborn, Skylar, left this world after 10 weeks and 3 days. I had 2 babies, actually, that I've lost as well, Charlie. It's not easy. They are a beautiful gift. We struggled to have children. And then after 5 years of trying, we had IVF and had twins. And then 15 months later, I got pregnant. And then just before four months into the pregnancy, I had a miscarriage. So I had that baby. I buried that baby. And then 2 months later, we lost one of our twins, who was 21 months. So in 2 months, I lost 2 children. 2 months, I lost 2 children. It was devastating. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. But yeah, as hard as it was, it also made me have a lot of realizations, because number one, I've always been someone that, although I didn't really believe in God, I never really also believed in separation. Everything has always been together for me. But when we lost our daughter, my whole thing was, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. And we might not understand that reason. And it might be the worst thing that you're experiencing at that moment. But irrelevant of that, it's happening for a reason. And it will always bring you to a better place. And from my daughter passing, I think maybe 2 years later, that's when I started reading people, not cards, because I didn't have any cards. I read faces, I read palms. I practiced in all these different ways. I read animals, all these different ways of how the universe shows me to read. And she's still with us. It was interesting because I sent my husband a picture of her a couple of days ago. It was really interesting experience. I was on my phone doing something and this picture just popped up on my phone. I was like, where the hell did you come from? I don't know where the picture come from, but it was a picture of my daughter that we lost. We didn't lose. A picture of my daughter that passed. And when I was moving to take the picture off the screen, my finger stayed on it long and it pulled it out, so it like became a sticker, which was really odd. I was like, what the hell is happening here? It was like doing all this stuff by itself. What the hell? And then I thought, you know what? So I sent that sticker to my husband and said, have a wonderful day, Daddy. It was really nice, really nice. But that's because I feel like she's with us. She's with us constantly. And there's these little moments throughout the day or days or however often it is. But there's always these moments of knowing that the people that we love are there. But losing a child is definitely difficult. And it's definitely taught me to love my children. Not that I didn't love them, but the trauma of what I experienced growing up, that's what I became. I became that parent. And it's taken a lot of work to undo that parent, to not be that parent. And also to not have annoyance for myself or anger for myself when I am that parent. Because we're all learning and it takes practice and time to become something different to what you've been taught. So having that patience and compassion for self to be able to go through these experiences in the most loving way towards self is very helpful. Embrace my destiny. You're welcome. I am blessed to have 2 years with my Liam, my heart, before his father kidnapped him. Liam turned 8 this year. I have not seen him since. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. 8. Charlie, you were the one that I did a reading on, isn't it? 8. You had an 8 in your reading as well. And you can let me know all about it, Charlie. You can leave a little review so I can see how you feel about it. But it definitely come through me. It was definitely a through me book. I wrote it in days. It was just yeah. Seeing past the matrix. Melissa, I got goosebumps reading that. I have a friend as well that she had maybe 4 or 5 miscarriages before she finally held a baby in her hands. And it was hard. It was really hard to the journey for her. But she has her son now and they're amazing. He's a big boy now. They're amazing. Your story reminds me of her a lot. It's the idea that it's just never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And then it finally happens. It's like, thank you. The joy that comes is unbelievable, isn't it? And if we could feel that before receiving it, we'd receive it so much quicker. But I think that's part of our journey as well. Yeah, just in a different way. And it's interesting you say just in a different way to what we're used to. And it is to what we're used to because we haven't been taught. We haven't been taught to connect to energy. We haven't been taught to connect to something outside of the physical. Who are we taught by? If you're taught, you might be taught to connect to God. But then it's like you feel that you need a middleman sometimes to be able to connect to God. You need the priest, or you need the pastor or the reverend or whatever it is. It's like, but we're all here as energetic beings. That separation is never existing. It's never existed. It's really interesting. So it is a different way that they communicate with us, and it is about listening, but we're not taught to do that. So it's like, when do we get better at doing it if we're never taught about it? Thank you, Charlie. I do my best. I do my best. You're a better mum for it. Yeah, that is. My daughter come to me the other day. My daughter's 13. She says to me, this was on Friday. I don't know if any of you were here on Friday, but it was a very interesting conversation on Friday. You're a medium. Everyone has their own way of doing things, definitely. All right, so on Friday I was here, and there was this guy, there was this person, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, it felt like guy energy, but let's say this person. And they were talking about this song, Visha Nirvana song. I'd never heard of it. And honestly, I might check some things after I come off a live, but generally I don't. But this particular day, I was like, I need to listen to this thing. I need to see what it's about. I need to understand what this person was talking about. So I listened to it. It's a chant. It's in Hindu, I think, but it has English subtitles for you to understand what they're saying. So I listened to it after the live on Friday, and then my daughter comes home on Friday. The thing that the person asked me to listen to, the Nirvana thing, it was a chant. It was saying basically, I am not my ego, I am not my thoughts, I am not my emotions, I'm not my ears, I'm not my nose, I'm not my hands, I'm not my face. It's basically saying that you are not this. This is not what you are. You are everything. That's what it's saying. So I was like, oh, that's really interesting. It was nice. That was it. Then my daughter comes home and says to me, Mummy, what do you think about this? She'd seen something and she'd taken a screenshot of it on her computer. And it says, the root of all suffering is attachment. The root of all suffering is attachment. So what do you think about that, Mummy? So I said, well, I agree 100%. How can you not? Because, I mean, if you're not attached to something, you're not going to be emotional about it. You're not going to have a thought about it. You don't care. So, I mean, any suffering comes to the attachment. So I was like, what do you think about it? So she said, no. So then I said to her, no, we were having a conversation about it. And the conversation was going on for a little while. And as she was talking, I was like, you know what? Somebody come onto a live today and they told me to listen to this thing. I think you should listen to this thing. I think you should be... I think the message was for you, because I believe all of that already. But because she come home with this suffering, and it was like that message was so aligned with what she had said. It was odd. So I played it for her. Both of my children actually sat there listening to it. By the time it finished, they were singing along to it. And then Sunday, I asked her, so what do you think of it? What do you think of the suffering leads to all, no, is because of attachment? She said, yeah, I agree with it, but I mean, we're human. We are attached. So, I mean, that means that we'll suffer. So I said, but that makes sense, doesn't it? Because we live in a world of contrasts. There is suffering and there is abundance and pleasure. There's the two. There's lack and suffering. There's abundance and pleasure. Depends on where we're where we're working from, no? What frequency we're at depends on what one will be. But we can't avoid suffering. And actually, my own experience in life has taught me that the suffering actually teaches me the most. Sometimes I'm a bit hard-headed and it's like, right, this is what we're going to do to help you with this lesson. And something will just come and blast through my life that's like, whoa. And I can't help but ignore. I can't help but notice it. I can't ignore it any longer. You have to face it to be able to get through it. And I think sometimes the universe puts it in such a way that there's no avoidance. There's just no way you can avoid it, which is what we do a lot. We avoid a lot. When my daughter come home and said it to me, oh, wow. I looked at, because like I said, she's 13. At 13, there was no way I was saying things like that. I'm looking at her, wow. You're amazing. Your mind is amazing. We must have as humans. I think that it's part of our journey to experience attachment. I think part of the journey is to let go of the force at which we are attached, not to not have attachment, but to have it more flowy. Flowy. It's able to maneuver itself around without being forced in one place. Life is a huge, we live in contradiction. We live, I think we're here to experience contradiction. That's something that the cards have taught me. There is a contradiction in everything. There's dark and there's light. There's happiness, there's sadness. We live in that place. So to have one without the other doesn't make sense to us. Doesn't make sense. But the negatives, I've just kind of changed my view around negatives of it's not negative. There's not even positive. It just is. And it's how we feel about the what is that creates differences. I need to do a wee, guys. I need to do a wee. She must have learned from her mother. I'm learning from her. I mean, she's learned things from me, but I'm learning from her. Did my daughter have a blue teddy bear or daisies? No. No. A blue teddy bear. She had a blue... Is it her that had the blue one or is it Isabella that had the blue one? Let me think. One of them... Guys, please. I know this is a bit rude and it's a bit annoying of me, but I have to do a wee. I'm going to come back in a second. Sorry about that, guys. I was dying. I've been on longer than my intention. My intention is always to come on for an hour. But sometimes the conversations are so nice and flowy. It's like, I don't want to go. I'm so enjoying the conversation. I just want to be in the conversation because I love these conversations. I love talking about spirituality and growth, and it's just so nice, isn't it? So, yeah. You were asking me about blue teddy bear or daisies. Daisies are interesting because my daughter, one of the twin that's with us, that's in physical, she's obsessed with the name Daisy. I don't know about, she's obsessed with the name Daisy. And a blue teddy, no. She didn't have a blue teddy. Did she have a blue teddy? Maybe she had a blue teddy. I remember a blue teddy, but I don't remember what it was on. But it wasn't like a special teddy. We bought them a teddy. Well, I got them a teddy when I had the twins. I would take them to baby massage, and I went and bought these 2 teddies so that while we were at the baby massage and they were lying down, I could put the teddy under their neck, and when they were having milk, I could put the teddy under their head so that their head was a little bit raised, and because I would always feed them together or do the massage together. So it was like I needed something to help me raise them. So I bought these teddies, but they weren't blue. They were the important ones. They're still here. Them ones, they're like 13 years old now. They're still there every day. They get used, but yeah, they weren't blue. I learn every day from my children. My children teach me so much. I can't imagine the parent I would be if I wasn't using them to teach me. They've been my best teachers. They show me like, let's say I'm talking to them and I'm screaming and shouting. It happens, yeah? I'm screaming and shouting, and the way that they look at me and sometimes the fear on their face, I don't like it at all. And it reminds me of when I was a child and how I felt. And it pulls me out of that moment very quickly. It pulls me out of that moment. But without seeing that, I'd probably still be doing it. Do you get me? But there's certain things that pull you out of these old behaviours because of how somebody's reacting around you. And my children are very good at, they're very honest. So they tell me things. I asked them this weekend what they loved about themselves, what they didn't like about themselves, what they liked about me, what they didn't like about me. What they didn't like about me, they're so funny. You're annoying, mummy. Okay, but what is annoying? No, you're just annoying. You're annoying. I don't know what that means. My screen name, Spiritual Bridge. My name is Bridgitte as well, so it was very easy to create the name because I'm spiritual and my name is Bridgitte. Spiritual Bridge. I'm not doing any more readings today, no, because the time is already finished. A blue stuffed animal or doll and daisies. If I have your permission, I will pass a message to you. If not right now, then I absolutely understand. You can pass a message. The message at the moment isn't making sense to me, but you can pass a message. You can pass a message. Yeah, they always tell me, you're annoying, mummy, you're annoying. But you know what? Everywhere I go, they follow me. I go to the bathroom to have my shower. My 13-year-old has to come and sit down with me. And then I'll go to my room to get dressed and she'll follow me to my room. And then I'll come down and sit down and she'll follow me and come down and sit there. They're always following me. They follow me all over the house. Between 2 of them, I'm like, yeah. They love following me. I love how honest they are as well, but I never grew out of that, Rhonda. I never grew out of the honesty of being a child. I spoke about it with my husband a few days ago. I was like, I think I'm on the spectrum a bit because my filter, I don't have a filter. I've never had a filter. It's a very weak filter that breaks very often. But it's always been a part of who I am. This I speak my mind, and sometimes it offends, sometimes it doesn't, but it's not my job to make everybody happy. When a spirit comes through, they show me images at first, and that is how I am able to make it. That's all right. You do you. Honesty is a great quality to have. A car and an apple, and fish and raindrops. Me too, Rhonda. Me too. Not Rhonda, Rhoda. Me too. At my wedding, one of my brother-in-laws, he was like, he made a speech, and he was there with, so Bridgitte. Bridgitte is one of the most honest people he knows. If he asks me, does this look nice? He's got to be ready because there's a potential that I can say no. So, and he loves that because he knows where he stands with me, and I think that's everybody. I don't sugarcoat. I'm not into fluffing, and it's not who I am as a person. And it's like, sometimes I think to myself, you're a bit hard, Bridgitte. It would be nice if you were a bit softer, a bit more suavecito, a bit more softly, gently, a bit more like that. But it's not the way that I was made. It's not the way that I was made. And I can be at certain moments, but it's just not generally who I am as a person. And that's okay. It's taken a long time for me to be okay with being direct, forceful, what I consider to be hard. It's taken a little while to get used to being that person without being worried about how other people are receiving me. Because other people receive you however they receive you. All you can do is be yourself, isn't it? Ah, that's nice. I feel that every day. You can't control how others perceive you. And that's the thing that I had to learn. That was one of the things I had to learn. That if being myself offends other people, then I have to change myself to create a better version for other people to be happy. But am I happy in that other version? And I can't be happy in any other version other than being who I am. It didn't make sense. It never made sense to me. There's a couple of things you said, Charlie. I'll tell you what they are. It is a couple. Something red. The raindrops. The raindrops make sense. They're a bit relevant. When I think of her, raindrops is definitely, or rain, not raindrops, but rain is definitely something that makes me think of her. Because she died, like I said, at 21 months. But she didn't experience rain. We live in Spain. We lived in the UK for the first year of their life. And then we moved to Spain. So for the second part of her life, we were in Spain. And she'd never been in the rain. She hadn't experienced rain. But she had Wellington boots. It was really funny. She'd put these Wellington boots on, these gloriously sunny days in Spain, yes, but she'd put these Wellington boots on and she'd walk around the house in these Wellington boots. And we had a couple of pairs because my sister was like obsessed with Wellington boots and she kept giving us her things from her daughter. So we had all these wellies and she kept putting them on every day. She would put on the Wellington and walk around the house. And At her funeral, it was raining, and Spanish people don't like rain. They don't like rain. It's like they're going to turn into a witch or something if they're in rain. So you don't go out in the rain. So they had decided, the funeral place had decided that we're not going to go outside to put the flowers in the grave. What we're going to do is everybody's going to put them on top of the grave in this place. And I was like, no. I don't like that. I don't want you to do that. I want to go outside. I want her to, it was not her because she had passed, but I wanted to be in the rain. It felt like it was like divine that we get to be in the rain and we get to play in the rain that she'd always wanted to be in. So I told them, let's go outside. So everybody got their umbrellas and we went outside. There were some puddles and we sang. There was a song I made up when they were little that I used to sing to them in the bath. And it was like, I am a fishy swimming in the sea, swimming along so happily. Sometimes I jump and when I land, all the water goes splash, splash, splash. And I used to sing that to them all the time. And at the funeral, I sang it while they were putting the grave into the wall, the niche or whatever it's called, niche. So I was singing that. We sang lots of nursery rhymes. But the rain, and every time I still see rain, it reminds me of her because she didn't experience the rain as a physical person. So it reminds me of her when I see rain, and it reminds me of her funeral as well. And you said something else. What, frog? No, it was the frogs. The frogs just reminded me of rain because frogs like rain, no? So sends me frogs to let me know that. Were they red boots? Red, no, they were pink. My sister's obsessed with pink and I hate pink. Well, I hated pink at that time. I still don't like it, but I love the rain. You got the message before I was singing. I'm always singing. I am always singing. I drive my daughter's crazy. That's probably why they called me annoying, eh? That's probably why they called me annoying. They'll tell me, there's a few things they'll say. They'll say, Mummy, today is going to be the day that I'm going to throw it back to you. I'll start going into Oasis. Or they'll tell me, one of the things that we did was I told my girls, if I'm getting mad and I start shouting, then tell me, stop in the name of love before you break my heart. I'm always singing. There's like words, you hear a word and it takes you to a song, and I just start blurting out the song. It's just like an impossible thing for me not to do. Yeah, and that's definitely something that helps me as well, the singing. I've always sang a lot, but I've always been really, I had always been really shy, so I never sang aloud. I never wanted people to hear me. I never spoke to anybody. But now it's like, there's so much freedom in who I am as a person that I sing all over the place. I don't care who hears me. It can crack and break. It don't matter. Who cares? It's just about being in the moment and enjoying and experiencing, and it's just really nice. It's crazy because I would sometimes do some charm readings and a frog would always come out. I also had a baby frog come into my house now, and the frog thing has been mentioned. It's weird, right? So there's a thing about frogs for you. Oh, thank you very much. You're just full of compliments, Charlie. You are full of them. Ooh, I'm open to receive. That was one of the songs that came through me. Me and my daughter have a little video of it on the channel of us singing. Well, I was singing and she was doing a little backing ground. It was so cute. There was a song that passed through me that I'm open to receive. I'm definitely open to receive. I love compliments. Before I couldn't even receive compliments, I was very much the Jack. Couldn't receive compliments. Couldn't receive praise. Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? There's definitely a thing about frogs for you. Unicorn and rainbow. I kept seeing the unicorn, but I didn't see the and rainbows. Rainbows are my thing. I love rainbows. They're my guide. They're my guide. And it seems that frogs definitely have a message for you at the moment. They have something that they want you to connect with. And maybe, for me, frogs, a big part of a message for frogs is leaps of faith, taking that leap, moving beyond yourself, trusting that when you take that leap, you will land. So maybe there's something for you, unicorn and rainbows, that you're nervous about moving towards. And the frogs are, especially you had a baby one come into your house. So it's like a young one that has to learn how to move, how to get to where it's going. So it's kind of like, it feels like it's a message for you of you're growing, you're moving in the right direction, but keep moving. Don't stop. Don't become too fearful that you're not able to take the steps forward. You've had the same experience whenever it comes to singing. You also wonder if some toxic choir teachers played a role in, you don't know. Just generally, I was just a shy child. I didn't speak to people. I didn't want people to speak to me. At my own wedding, I did not speak. It was only people that I loved there, not many people, but I still couldn't speak. The idea of being in front of people has always terrified me. I think a lot of that was listening to what other people's opinions about me were. You're not good enough, you're not clever enough, you're not pretty enough, you're too fat, fundifies, your voice ain't that good. Stop singing, stop making that noise. It just compounds itself, doesn't it? And then the more you hear certain things, the more we build on those things. And it's just going through that process of unpacking those things to let them out. Yeah. It's moving beyond it. My children helped me with that as well. That's one of the first things that they helped me with. Before my kids, I didn't really speak to anybody. I mean, I worked in a dentist, and when the patients would come in, I'd have to talk to them because I was the receptionist and the dental nurse. So I did the two jobs. So I'd have to talk to people. But it was really like work. But I was friendly enough. But when I had kids, like if I went to the park or something, I wouldn't talk to anybody. But once I had kids, I was like, yeah, I do not want my children like me. My husband is a very friendly person, and he's just there. He's there. You can't avoid him. You walk into a room and you'll see him. He's there. The energy is there as well. But I was always hiding. I've always been the hider. I didn't want to be noticed. And when I had my children, I take them to the park, and it was like I had to talk to everybody, because what am I teaching them if I'm not talking to people? I'm going to teach them that they shouldn't talk to people, and I'm going to teach them like shyness and the things that I didn't want them to learn. I didn't want them to, especially not from me, because it's like, yes, I know I am that, but I know the difficulties that I experienced from that. So I don't want that to be my children's experience. So I started talking to everybody. Now I still talk to everybody. I just talk. Oh, that's nice hairstyle you've got there. Oh, lovely dress you're wearing. Oh, how are you? Oh, what a beautiful smile. It can be anything that you say. No, it doesn't have to be anything spectacular, but to not avoid talking to other people. That's what I had to teach myself. Charlie, thank you for the messages. I mean, it's very nice seeing somebody write the messages, but honestly, Charlie, my connection with my children, not just the daughter that passed, but the miscarried child as well. My daughter, my connection to each of them. Even my dad that passed a couple of years ago. I have a deep connection. I have a deep connection. Where she's always talking to me. She talks to me a lot. So I thank you for your messages, and like I said, it's nice seeing it. And I appreciate you taking the time and energy as well to want to share your gift with me. It's very nice. I have no doubt in the connection. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for wanting to. Papa. She said Papa. Papa is not even my husband. We had a neighbor that she would call Papa. We call him Papa Pedro because she kept calling him Papa. She called my husband Daddy because we're English and we say Dad. But yeah, our neighbor, I don't know where it come from. She just started calling him Papa. So we started calling him Papa, but we call him Papa Pedro. So Papa for me is Papa Pedro. Yeah, it's his wife's birthday actually on the 12th. When is that? A little while, a few days. Anyway, I'm off now. I've been here for like 2 hours. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know where I'm going to get the energy, but it's going to come to me somehow. So tomorrow is what? No, I won't be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Tomorrow will be a pick a card reading. I made them today. They are so beautiful. They are so light, beautiful readings. I had such a wonderful time making creating the readings. Really, really, really nice. So that will be posted tomorrow. They come on early, 6 a.m. in the morning. And I will be back on Friday. Friday, 1 p.m. CET. I do come on to do readings, but once it's got to like the time that my time is up or very close to, then I don't do them anymore because I want to be able to go anytime I want to. And if I'm in a reading, then I get stuck in the reading, lost in the reading. I might be there for another half an hour that I don't want to be. So yeah, I come on at 1 o'clock to do the readings. So I will see you then if you come. If not, then have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here to share your time with me today. It's been great. The conversations have been so wonderful. Charlie, thank you for your reading and your connection. Empress, Unicorn and Rainbows, thank you guys for your contribution. Eric, thank you as well. And everybody else that's been here, that's come to spend your... Rhonda as well, Rhoda. That's been here and spent your time with me. It's been wonderful having you. The energy has been fantastic today. As you can see, the evidence of it. Take care, guys. Bye.